Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel. My name is Brett with Anvil Music and Media. I'm so excited to be here. Excited to talk to you today. Today is Friday, and this is the Off the Dock podcast edition of Anvil Music and Media. Uh, I am your host. I'm super excited. It's been a great week. Man. Been a great week, and today we're just going to really talk. I haven't been on in probably maybe a week and a half, but I really want to get into some topics. Of course, we've had earlier this week the Apple event that took place. I believe it was Monday or Tuesday, and so many different things, so many products that have been released. The iPhone 17, we've got the iPhone 17 Air. We got a few things that are going on, but all in all, I'm just happy. I'm glad to be back, glad to be here, glad to sort of share and communicate, and always excited about the community that I serve, that we sort of come together to talk and to sort of make sense of the world through technology and through the AI space and what's going on here lately and what we've had. And so, yeah, today we're going to talk. We're going to talk a little bit about Apple. We may get into some AI things. We may get into some other things. Lately, I've been really just loving the fact of all of the news, the good news that's been going on lately in the technology sector. So it's been a great time. As you're coming in, I'd ask that you, if you get a chance, like this video, subscribe to the channel. I'm so excited to see each and every one of you. It's a good day, man. It's a good day to be alive. I'm really excited. Thank you guys for joining. Oren Smith is here. Thank you, Oren Smith, saying hello. It's so good to see each and every one of you. Let me know as you're watching in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from, and we're gonna get right started. So, of course, you guys know the Apple event was on earlier this week, and we've had some discussions previously about Apple releases and some rumors about the iPhone 17, and here we go again. You know, yet another event that sort of host or an event that is showing the iPhone release, and so people are excited about that. It's going to be a great time. So let's see, who do we have in the chat? Martatha Ed says hello. Hey, how's it going? Oren Smith is watching from Hawaii. Awesome, Oren. Absolutely good to see you. Good to see you today. I won't even know what time is it in Hawaii. If you don't mind sharing, I don't even know. I know what time it is here, but welcome to the channel. Welcome to all of my first timers. If you are watching for the first time, my name is Brett with Anvil Music and Media. If you get a chance, love that you go check out my channel. Go check out the videos that I have up here. Mostly tech, mostly Apple videos. But if you do get a chance, please go check out the other videos. Orange Smith says it's 12 a.m. Yeah, okay, that sounds about right. That sounds about right, man. Well, I appreciate you for joining, for locking in. Appreciate that so much. So, like I was saying earlier this week, we had the Apple event. We had the release of the iPhone 17, the Pro, the Air. They really are pushing. Once again, they're pushing the phone, the iPhone. Many of us have to recognize that in these phone wars that we have between companies, between Apple, Google, Samsung, Android versus Apple, Apple versus Android. You know, we, the consumer, we have a choice, but there's so many different choices, right? And I still feel like Apple still leads the charge in terms of what they sell with their iPhones, what they offer with the Apple ecosystem. And I've talked a little bit about the ecosystem, what Apple, their ecosystem, and how they have over the years really just locked in their consumer and their customer. And so we may get into a deep dive of Apple even as a company and how they market what they market. So yeah, guys, come on in. Let me know where you're watching from, if you don't mind. I'd love to hear from you in the chat. drop a line in the chat. Tell me, come in and say hello. Um, love to meet you guys for the first time. I'm appreciative for you guys joining. So yeah, Apple is releasing, of course, yet another iPhone, not another iPhone 17. I was actually talking to my sister the other week, and she had went in to purchase a another phone, and I think she was having some issues with like her batteries, which I've never had, because I've never had. You guys had any issues with your batteries? Like, you go to charge your battery up, either it takes too long to charge, or once it charges, it like loses battery like almost instantly. That's kind of crazy to me. I've never really had that issue. Of course, I've been using Apple products for years. You can go check. You can actually see that on my website because I have so many different reviews, so many different computer reviews. I've got iPad reviews, which I don't really like iPads, but anyway. Long story short, got to the store, and the I think she was at Verizon, but anyway, they pretty much said, well, why don't you wait until the iPhone 17 is out? You can buy that. And of course, that's sort of a thing that where consumers are. It's like, I want to see what I can get. Should I get the latest phone, or should I go ahead and get the 16? And so, but just so you know, the new iPhone lineup, the prices span from $799 to $1199. So yeah, the price is what it is. All new iPhones have 256 gigs of storage at the base configuration. So that's a pretty good starting point, if you want to buy iPhone 17. Like, it's interesting to me that and it's not really interesting, right? Marketing still, even today, even now, they're always pushing forward their phones as being the first item to sort of sell. Like, this is just the honest truth about marketing and how Apple markets their stuff. That nothing was really said. There, of course, were rumors about Siri. There were rumors about liquid glass, and we may talk about liquid glass a little bit later. But both of these, both of we've been talking about it for months and for probably years, especially with Siri. But liquid glass is sort of a new phenomenon. Apple didn't really get into that. They sort of teased Apple Intelligence, but not really. Like, there's not really much going on there with Apple Intelligence. So anyway, let's see. Orange Smith. Let's see. Orange Smith says, "Bro, Roblox is a bad place right now." Is it a bad place? Is it because of the slow downloads? I'm not sure. Let me know what's going on. Orange Smith says, "What time is it here?" So, Oren, it is almost 7 a.m. in the morning. 7 a.m. is the morning, obviously. Orange has asked me where I'm streaming from. So I'm streaming here from from the East Coast, Virginia. So I'm here in Virginia. It's nice and early. There's a vast difference between time difference from where I am and where you are. But I appreciate you for joining. Oren now says, I think I'm going to go good night. Okay, I don't blame you. Yeah, 12 is probably a good time to go to bed. Anyway, let's get back to what I was saying. But basically the entry level iPhone 17, I would definitely check that out. It's better value than ever. It's now got the twice the same storage for the same price. And I've talked to many people about storage, and the consumer, of course, is out there sort of trying to differentiate between price and storage and RAM for computers. RAM, of course, will be for computers, and trying to make sense of what sort of storage should you get. If you're a person that deals heavily in media and graphics, and you're using your phone for graphics, and you're using your phone for to take photos, to shoot videos, of course you're gonna want you're gonna want the storage, right? You're gonna want the storage. So 256 gigs, for the price that it is, I think it's being a little bit more reasonable on behalf of how Apple is, what their cost of the iPhone is. So the iPhone 17 Pro and the Max now feature a new aluminum, basically unibody design, and they got orange and blue colors. I'm never gonna buy orange iPhone. I'm sorry, it's just not gonna happen. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it at all. I won't. I won't. I will not buy that. But going on to the iPhone Air is probably the flashiest addition to what Apple is sort of offering at this point. So the Apple calls it its most durable iPhone, um, thanks to like the ceramic shield that it has. So this is the iPhone Air. Now, guys, the iPhone Air is just that. It's thin. It's very thin. And I sort of I would have probably some issues with the iPhone Air because of it being so thin. You're probably going to run into a lot of battery issues. You just are, because it's no real space to have a capable battery that allows you to charge your phone and for your phone to last. So there's a few things with that. And of course, in other news, I want to also talk about how Apple is they are having some store issues. The Apple Store is down now ahead of the iPhone 17 and iPhone 17 Pro release. So Apple pre-order is basically pre-orders I think started yesterday. So it means like Apple is following the usual tradition of taking down the store a few hours, and the store is going to be back. It's probably up now, but you can order the iPhone 17, the Pro, or the iPhone 17 Air right now. um, so yeah, just a few things about the iPhone. And like I said, once again, Apple is they're a little bit behind on Apple Intelligence. I think they are still flirting with giving out information. They probably don't have much to give out, because otherwise they would have talked about this in the event. The event, of course, was pre-recorded, so that lets you know right there that they sort of like to they Apple as a company, they're making sure that the information that they're giving is, it's not in real time, so you can't really mess up pre-recorded. So some things that some technologies that they probably had or some technologies that have rumored to have come out, they sort of are trying to control how they look. So it's all about an image. It's all about how they position themselves in front of the consumer, what they show you, what they do not show you. So um, yeah, Apple's had a reign on marketing for years. I mean, these events have been going on for absolutely a long time. And so from conception to how they command the culture, I mean, they absolutely command the culture with their marketing. And I've studied it. There have been books that have been written about Apple's reign down through the 80s and 90s. How Steve Jobs, actually didn't realize Steve Jobs was he ran at one point. He was either the CEO or president of Pixar, and so he ran Pixar. And basically, when his time was up with Pixar, he moved back over to Apple and sort of just totally turned the company around. Um, but yeah, buckle up. It's a long one. I mean, I've been tracing Apple's evolution from the start, from the beginning, from literally its garage days, right? Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs, basically, how Apple became the spectacle that it is today, the creative decisions, literally the playbook. It's a story of branding, it's a story of technology, and it's literally a collision course between the consumer and how we even function today, right? If you were to ask somebody, today, or if you were to go back in time and talk to somebody and say, hey, you're going to have a device to carry with you that is not your watch, right? By the way, you're going to have this device around with you. You're going to be able to talk to people through it, through text, through the internet, through you'll be able to buy things online. People would just say, they'd be like, that's not true. But like literally, this sort of digital evangelism has come to has is sort of still running the course. And so yeah, Apple didn't really start as a huge brand, right? It wasn't really big. It just started with like two basic nerds, Wozniak and Jobs. And so they were able to just build like Wozniak had the computer, literally the brain, to come up with the computer that would later become the iMac and the iPhone and all of this. But literally, uh, it was a spectacle, right? But it was a spectacle that sort of set the standard. So in the deep dive of Apple, like I've sort of learned how it has become a brand. It's a major brand. It's a major company. Um, and so it's funny to me, like people today, it's like, oh, I need an iPhone. No, you don't really need an iPhone. You've just been sold the fact that you need the iPhone. Nobody really. That's why you have Android users. That's why you have Samsung users. But there at one point in time in the history of Apple, there was a saying or slogan called "Think Different," and this was totally a marketing genius for Apple to actually have this slogan to come out, and because I think this was like the mid 1990s, Apple was struggling. Their marketing suffered from like incoherent product lines. So you have these products that are really products that are supposed to be for the quote unquote like the elite or the those who are smarter, and you have computers that only computer programmers can function or they can use. In a sense, sort of not fair to the everyday consumer. And so that's when they changed it. They changed the model to think different. They repositioned Apple as being a creative rebel brand, right? Celebrating like artists, musicians, sciences, um, and a whole bunch of different like technologists. So that is they basically rebuilt the entire brand of Apple. So let's see, here we are. Who do we have? Akima. Hey, Akima, what's going on? And Kuda says, I'm back. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Akuta, sorry I got to go play with my dad. That's cool. Um, David Leo says, I don't understand the iPhone and Android debate. Like, why criticize someone else's phone is weak? Yeah, well, David, you gotta understand the society that we live in. People, we have my car is bigger than yours, my phone is better than yours, um my house is nicer than yours, I have mine, and people sort of take sides. That's just, I mean, that's been going on for years. I wouldn't say that I don't understand it, but you have to really look at to literally, you have to take the consumer now as being the product. The consumer is actually, we're actually the product now. They're marketing to us and we're becoming the product. And what they're really selling us is um, they're really selling us the product that they they sort of want us to have, of course. And I think honestly, when you're dealing with opposing phones or opposing companies, you really have to look to the marketing side of things. You really have to go to the place of understanding how a company markets and why they market and who they market to. And so what ends up happening is people are literally loyal just off of the fact of because they have what they have. Their product is the only product that matters. Their product is, or their, I shouldn't say product, whatever they purchase, say for example, it is an iPhone. I purchased an iPhone. Well, of course, the iPhone, I have an iPhone, so the iPhone is the best phone, right? It's sort of a really shallow perspective to have, but that's just how people are. That's just how people are. That's just how the consumer is. So good question. Good question there. But yeah, let's see. David Leo says maybe that's why they have separate football teams. I know it's unrelated, but I think they're trying to divide us. Yeah, yeah, I mean, in so many words, yeah, they want you to be, they really want you to be invested in where they are. And subconsciously people do it all the time. It is football season, so obviously, football teams and I have a football team, but I'm not even like so invested in my football team. Like okay, it's cool. The NFL is cool. We have sports, great. But I'm not gonna necessarily, if I go into work on Monday, I'm not gonna necessarily like be bragging about my team if they win or if they lose, because that, like, you have to sort of back up what you the trash that you talk, right? So if you're talking trash, like, you sort of have to back that up. But yeah, it's really all a marketing scheme. It's all a marketing ploy, and this is kind of what I was talking about with Apple's sort of their introduction into consumer society, and how they have really just placed themselves and positioned themselves in first. I mean, it's no real company out there like Apple, but and you'll also understand, if you understand this, you'll know if you understand these WWC events, the Apple events that have happened in the past, that continue to happen on a periodic basis. So with these events, they sort of generate a buzz, like a major buzz for the consumer, not just for the consumer, but the Worldwide Developers Conference is different from the Apple event. They're two different things. The WWDC event is just that. It's for developers. It's for Apple to open up the floor for developers and computer third party, you know, software companies, computer developers, computer AI trainers. They come together and literally Apple just says, okay, these are the products that we're looking to release. This is the software that we're looking to release. iOS, the operating software. Literally, whenever they have a new software, they're sort of coming together and sort of sharing what they're going to have, because you got to have really a communication between the software and the operating system. You buy a piece of software, if it's new, you better hope that the operating system is congruent or can talk to that software, because otherwise it's no point in having, and nobody's gonna purchase what they can't use, right? So let's see who ASN is. Hey, Daniel, what's up? Daniel, what's going on? How are you doing? It's good to see you today. Man, you are right on time. Daniel says they kept charge port on the air. Yes, yes. I was going to talk about that later, but yeah, the iPhone, the Air, the 17, um, I am I'm not surprised, because a few years ago, Apple, man, it's probably been 5 or 6 years ago. I have a MacBook Pro that they went to all Thunderbolt ports. It was like 4 different Thunderbolt ports, and this was an iPhone that they were sort of experiment. This was the not the iPhone. I'm sorry. This was the MacBook that they were. I don't know if they weren't experimenting with it, but they sort of had went away from what the consumer was telling them, and so the MacBook that I have, it has 4 Thunderbolt ports, which is really not that, like, it probably wasn't the best design. And so what happened was, when the MacBook was released, people just were in uproar. They were like, "Why did you remove my ports? Why did you get rid of the USB C?" It was crazy. Or they were USB C ports. I'm sorry, not Thunderbolt ports, which you can still interchange Thunderbolt and USB C. But anyway, long story short, Apple sort of started to listen to the consumer and say, okay, we're gonna bring back more port flexibility, so you can. So anyway, to that, I highly doubt that Apple's gonna get rid of that. Even though you don't really get any accessories anymore when you buy the iPhone. So, but it's kind of funny. Let's see. Let's see. Daniel says Europe is the issue. Yeah, Daniel, you're right. You're right. Apple actually had some issues with. They had a couple court cases with in the UK. I think it was in Britain. That whole court case went down a couple years ago, even with the USB-C cord or cable. What Daniel is referring to is, at one point in time, Apple, of course, would manufacture their own cables. So you literally could not use a cable on your iPhone or your computer that was a universal cable. It was literally strictly the Apple cable, which is effectively known as the Lightning cable. That is ceased. That is sort of rest in peace to the Lightning cable. It's no more. The Lightning cable is no more because of, like Daniel said, because of that court case that went down, and people were like, "Why can't I use?" And you should be able to use a universal cable, right? And so Apple, I guess it was a big enough issue to Apple uh, literally now allowing the consumer to use the USB-C cable. So yeah, Europe is the issue, and maybe it was a good thing. Maybe it was a good thing that they were the issue. So yeah, Daniel. Yep, exactly. They mandated all new devices need a Type C port. Yep. So that's literally what happened. So but this is what Apple has done over the years through their stronghold over the market, right? They they put you and pitch you. They pit their companies against other companies. The contrast of us versus them. That's literally how Apple works. Um, they have become a company that has been simple in their structure and their design, very minimal. It's very minimal in how they position their product and what their product looks like. There's an emotional framing to how Apple sort of shows up in marketing, right? The ads really evoke aspiration. They evoke integration. They evoke a passion of like, oh, I have the iPhone. This is the iPhone, right? The identity and lifestyle. No wonder it's called the iPhone. Like right? It's literally a personal or a singular thing. Um, so they show people enjoying the product rather than the specs, right? We're gonna enjoy this product. I'm not gonna get into what it does, right? But I'm going to literally show you how it affects me and how I feel when I use the product. What are my feelings? What are my emotions? So that's really a marketing genius, right? There's a fetish in the design. Let's just be honest. I mean, if I could use even that word, the packaging, the unboxing, the packages that it comes in, right? It's like a literal art project, right? Not a project, but it's like an art. Like it's just a phenomenon how they sort of put their products together. So let's see. Daniel says, as an Android PC user, I use Type C for years. The ports go iffy. Yeah, yeah, and that's cables go bust. Yeah, and that's the thing, Daniel. Like it's crazy, man. I Type C ports as an Apple user and an iPhone user, and having MacBooks and for me, it has. I've really noticed that over the years of having Apple products, I didn't realize that there were other cables out there. I mean, it's just, I mean, you literally think that the iPhone, the Lightning cable, is the cable. It's like, well, yeah, because of course we would buy a $57 cable because I need that for my iPhone, and it's like, yeah, this is my iPhone, like, you know, and it's crazy. It's all a part of Apple's retail strategy. And once again, we're talking about markets. We're talking about how consumers respond to what is put out there. So yeah, that's actually funny. The biggest thing I would say, probably the most important, uh, um, probably the most important piece of information that I will talk about today is the ecosystem, Apple's ecosystem, and their walled garden. So Apple's marketing doesn't just stop at ads in stores. It literally built ecosystems around the Apple products, right? And so the ecosystem is both a value proposition and like a behavioral lock-in. It's like you gotta have, if you're gonna have an iPhone, you gotta have the iWatch, right? You can't go to another company and purchase Uh, Otherwise, you'll be in sort of this tug of war that Apple's going to win, right? You're going to be in a tug of war between what company should I use or what company do I prefer. And so, and so this is sort of PR mastery, right? Uh, PR mastery on the influencer, on the consumer, on culture, and earned media. So Apple has sort of learned how to narrate have really they've controlled their own narrative. They've carefully curated, uh, like carefully curate their products so that the consumer would sort of have to use their ecosystem. So yeah, let's see. Daniel says Air is a phone with a reduced battery and an upsell extra for your battery pack back. If you buy an Air, you will need a power bank for it, and you are a moron. Wow, that listen to that information, guys. Daniel was saying literally, and I literally said that. I said that before you came on, Daniel. I said that even before the Apple event. I said if you're gonna have a thin phone like that, the battery life is just not gonna be the greatest. It's gonna be less. Like, yes, the phone is thin, but the technology is not the greatest for your battery, for you to have a long lasting battery life. And people like battery life. They talk about it left and right. They talk about it as much as storage, right? You know, how much storage should I have? Well, how long is the battery life? And if I charge it or if I upgrade the OS system, will the battery life get better? These are all things and all questions of the consumer. And to be honest with you, this sort of works in Apple's favor because Apple is able to sort of, they can sort of market to you, bigger and greater or smaller and sleeker and more slim. And if you major in the minor, if you don't really sort of major in the details about the specs of the product that you're getting, you're going to sort of be left out there to the marketing genius of what Apple offers. So that's a good point there. They're going to upsell. Yeah, they're always about the upsell. Shot on iPhone is clever marketing. Yeah, very, very clever marketing. And David says, you're moron if you get the Air and you need the power bank for it. Yeah. It also actually reminds me of the Apple Vision Pro when that came out some 3 years ago. And you've got this big, huge battery pack that you got to carry around with you that only lasts like 2 hours. That's no bueno. I've gotta have a battery last longer than 2 hours on anything that I use mobily or if I take it with me. I mean, it's just that just like, and I know people who have older iPhones that, yeah, that batteries only probably last 2 to 4 hours. Not a good thing. Now, your iPhone's probably old or older, and the charge does not keep like it used to. But the same token, it's like if you're gonna design a new product and market this product to the consumer, battery life is important to people. It is important. I wouldn't dare buy something without longer lasting battery life. So anyway, um, Daniel says, "Look, I like the Air as someone usually at a fixed location or with a solar generator, usually close by when the market for someone like me." Okay, yeah. I mean, and that's Daniel. That's been the thing for me, like with computers and with having a MacBook, right? I use my MacBook mobily, but I rarely like break it out where there's not a computer outlet somewhere. So it's either always charged. I'm always usually closely or near an outlet that I can just, hook my power cable up to. I mean, I'm not really gonna be out in the woods somewhere for hours using it, right? Because wherever I am mobily, I mean, I'm there for a reason. I'm not if I'm stationary in some place, then I'll hook it up and I'll use it and do the things that I need to do, or the work that I need to get done. So let's see. Daniel says, ironically, it's the first iPhone I think I might buy. Wow. Well, congratulations, Daniel. I didn't. That wasn't me that persuaded you to buy an iPhone. You know, I'm not sort of one of those guys where I'm like, get iPhone exclusive. I mean, it just happens to be a channel and that I use Apple products, but I'm not just like, Apple iPhone is the only phone. People really get on their soapboxes about the products. So Apple marketing, man, is brilliant, right? But it does have criticisms. People, and speaking of criticizing, right? The critics argue about the ecosystem and how it limits consumer choice, right? And mobility. So you choose Apple, you're gonna have to choose Apple, right? Mobility is a thing of itself. We don't even have to explain that. So there's a talk about myth making versus transparency. There's powerful storytelling that can obscure like the supply chain, the labor and environmental issues. A lot of people have come out and spoke against Apple and uh, how they design and how they manufacture their products and the environmental issues that are associated with this great company called Apple. And the constant tracing camps, if you will, the workers who work day in and work day out, day in and night and 24 hours. Those who are working, who are underage, who are being forced to work in these facilities. You know, Apple is a great company, but what's going on behind the scenes? Right? So there are some social and economical consequences as a result of this great product called the iPhone. So then we talked about Daniel just mentioned their premium price, right? Uh, the premium price is literally it's for exclusion. Um, Apple's branding makes the products desirable, but it's also expensive, which expensive products make them exclusive, right? And it can be framed negatively in markets. So, but these sort of things don't really negate Apple's marketing process, right? So yeah, I mean it's a lesson. It's a lesson to marketers, right? If you want a core blueprint of Apple's marketing, you gotta make the product experience central to your messaging, right? You gotta focus on one big idea, not a bunch of big ideas. It has to be one. That idea involves the consumer who is positioned in their story as the hero, the consumer, and then Apple is sort of the helper that helps the hero get to its destination of wherever it wants to go. So this is the story of branding, right? Apple controls the narrative, right? They control the narrative wherever possible. They use physical spaces, right? Like retail events. We talked about events there. Um, Another thing of a lesson to marketers is, build an ecosystem that makes your brand a habit, not a purchase. So Apple is literally a habit and not a purchase, right? Um, and then, of course, you as a marketer have to be ready for ethical scrutiny. Your storytelling invites responsibility, so you have a responsibility to the consumer. So yeah, these are all good things. Good things. Let's see. Daniel says Apple is still fighting the recent laws in the UK. Google folded and sold us out. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know the latest of what's happening with those recent laws, but I'll definitely like to check that out. Daniel, you said the Air meets my needs as a device. Shame about the camera and the OS on it, but otherwise it's very me. Okay. Cough, cough. Foxconn. I hear you, Daniel. I hear you. I hear you. Daniel's telling me to look up. So Foxconn is apparently Apple's largest manufacturing partner and one of the most important players in the supply chain. Ah, interesting. Apple is a status symbol. Yes, it is. It is a status symbol. Too bad though, because people like me, I know it's a status symbol, but I don't use it for that because I'm not really the normal person when it comes to talking about Apple products. My knowledge is not shallow in that just because I have an iPhone, like I have literally, I probably maybe 15 to 20% of those Apple users that actually factually use Apple for everyday things like production, editing. I really and this goes back 10, 15 years ago to the very first Apple product that I purchased, which was a MacBook. It was a gray MacBook. Um, bulky thing. It was very big and bulky. And that was just my sort of my start into the production era of me sort of starting to make music, and fast forward to here where I am now with Apple products. But yes, I agree. I agree. It's a status symbol. People want to flash their new iPhone, and hey, I got the iPhone first. Yeah, man, it's branding genius. Branding genius. Um, oh wow, Daniel says Foxconn installs suicide nets on roofs. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. That's a serious controversy, and I know they had other labor conditions and other reports of like grueling hours, uh, worker suicides. Ew, I probably shouldn't have said that word. But anyway, now maybe I'll get canceled today for saying the S word. But harsh dormitory life, wages and strikes, child labor allegations. So Foxconn is not, yeah. You're not going to hear about Foxconn only because it's not an Apple. Let's just say this: these companies they pay huge amounts of monies to keep certain news items away from the consumer, away from the public. So yeah. Nabbit World says, "Hey man, it's been a while. Thoughts on the iPhone 7 Pro Max? I really want that." Nabbit World, good to see you today, man. Excited to see you. Thanks for joining the chat. Yeah, it's been a while because I haven't really been up here a while, but yeah, that really speaks to my consistency, right, guys? Welcome back to the channel, man. Thank you so much for joining. The iPhone 17 Pro Max. Um, yeah, I've got to really kind of jump into that. I would say, definitely, if you have the chance to get it, like definitely, you know, I would get it. Now's the time. Like if you want to purchase, if you're sort of in the because it's probably it's going to be the most advanced model ever. And so I've got to do a little bit more research and to let you know what I think. Let's see. Let's see who is. Daniel says, "Nabbit, hope things are well, friend. Foxconn are pretty bad guys." Yeah, yeah, and most people don't really know the story about Apple and Foxconn's partnership. So Nabbit World says things are pretty crazy. It's my graduate in 2 weeks, but it's all good. Oh man, congratulations for the grad. Yeah, man, let's get those. Yeah, congratulations. You got the graduation coming up, man. That is awesome. That is awesome. OM Kasana is here. Hey, what's going on, OM Kasana? I hope I said your name right. Thank you for joining the chat. Thank you for joining the cast. We're here today. Daniel says, congratulations on your graduation into the world to change the story of humans in your own personal way. Daniel, you have such a great way with words. That is awesome. OM Kasana says, what do I do? Well, right now, on this video, we're talking about Apple products. What I do depends on the day. It depends on the day. Right now, of course, we're live. I am a content creator. If you if you get a chance, go check out my channel. You'll be able to see a ton of videos, and you'll find out very much what it is I do. So basically, my name is Brett. Nice to meet you, O.M. Kasana. Thank you for joining this channel. So yeah, I am a content creator. I do. Oh man, how do I even? That question is so loaded. It literally just depends on what day it is. Oh goodness. I am an Apple enthusiast. I love Apple products, but I also use Apple products. I specialize in so I do some production. I do video editing. I've written a few ebooks. You can check those out on the descriptions in the videos. You can actually download my free ebooks on Apple products. What to buy, what to purchase, based on what you're looking for as a consumer or buyer. If you're in the market for Apple products or computers, I sort of have ebooks that I've written for that. Of course, have a channel, this YouTube channel. I am lightly on the lighter side of things. I'm a business coach, so forth and so on. It's just a lot of stuff that I do. Nabbit World says I'm using a 13 Pro Max, and I think it's a big upgrade. Yeah, it's going to be a big upgrade. Nabbit World, yeah, go. I'm not going to say like pressure you into getting the 17 Pro Max, but yeah, I think if it'd be a good graduation present. In 2 weeks, Apple will probably be shipping out their iPhone 17 Pro Max, and so yeah, I would get it for your graduation present to yourself. Daniel says, "Welcome in, OM. It's a tech chat with heavy sprinkle of Apple fanboy." Yeah, it is. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I feel bad about talking about Apple the way I do, but you have to kind of. This is the world we live in. There are a bunch of Apple fanboys. I've been called a fanboy. I don't have a problem with it. I used to be calling. People don't really call me that anymore. I don't, maybe they do, but if you go check out my channel, you'll understand and see why. I'm not chasing the latest trends, and even though we talk about them, it's not necessarily something that we talk about a bunch of stuff. We talk about how AI technology has shaped our world and going to forward in the future. And probably next week, we're going to really kind of jump back into new AI news. That's been where I've been lately. But yes, as Daniel said, for the most part, sometimes I kind of go on and on about Apple products. I love Daniel says a heavy sprinkle. So that means it's light, but it's also heavy. That's funny. OM Kasana says Apple products. Yeah. So what about the MacBook Air M4? So for those of you that are not familiar with the M4 series, this is the latest series of Apple products. The M chip is Apple specific. It's a chip that Apple makes now. The M4 is the latest generation of chips. The MacBook Air, you would have to ask me, OM, let me know what you're looking to use it for, because I'm not a big fan of the Air series, only because the programs that I use and the programs I use are really computer CPU intensive. So I need a lot of RAM, I need a lot of space, a lot of hard drive space. I need a lot of cores, which you kind of sort of get into 10 core, 12 core with the latest Apple computers. So it just depends on what you need it for. I would say if you're generally using it to surf the internet, emails, write papers, general stuff, you're probably fine. If you like a lot of music and you like a lot of music files, I would stray away from the Air. It's a great computer, and it's also relatively inexpensive because it is an Air. But we were just talking about the iPhone 17 Air. It's the same thing. It's it's slim. It's an entry level price, but you're gonna pay you're going to pay a cost on the back end. And whatever that cost is, it just depends on what you do or how you use the product. So there are going to be plenty of people to buy the iPhone Air. I mean, it is what it is. Because the MacBook Air is the same way. Like the way they market it to the consumer is literally, it's a computer that you can buy literally out the store. You can open it up and start using it, which you absolutely can. But I would caution against the Air and unless you know the specs. Like I said, if you go on my one of my videos, I have a free download of basically all of this broken down, how the chips are, how they sort of stack up against each other, the M1 versus the M2 versus the M3 Pro. I don't even think that they have the M3 Pro, but they may have I know they have the M2 Pro, and then they have the M4. I think they may have the M4 Pro now. I don't know if it's in the Air, but hopefully that answers your question. Daniel says Apple Silicone is awesome for creatives. Yeah, it is, and I'm totally creative, so that's why people would call me a fanboy on one side of things, and they don't really understand. They don't know that, like, no, actually, I'm using the product, and it's the quickest way for me to get my creativity out to the world. So Daniel says I'm an Android fanboy. Own it. Yeah. No, but you, like, I don't even think you're a fanboy either, Daniel, because like you clearly know your stuff. So like you don't really like, and that's why I'm like, man, this website, this YouTube page of mine, I've sort of really branded it under Apple and how I use Apple products. So it's kind of interesting. Let's see. OM says wanted to buy a MacBook Air M4 for web development, front end and a bit of back end. Okay. OM, Daniel is really good with that. Daniel will probably give you some more options to use or some more options to look at in terms of computers. I think you probably would be fine for the Air, but Daniel, yeah, what do you say? Daniel's already answered. See, he's already answered. Says for web development, it would be a solid choice for field work and an at-home setup. See, there we go. Getting the questions answered. Thank you, Daniel, for that, man. Appreciate that. And so, yeah, I'm like, this isn't just Apple. This isn't just an Apple only channel, right? We just talk about it. And lately we've been talking about other things outside of Apple. And I've been intentional about that. Like, every so often I'll come on and talk about Apple products, but like this, it isn't it's not the be all, the be all to end all on topics that we discuss. So Daniel says I'm usually Windows Intel, but M4 is tempting. Yeah, it is tempting, man. Come on over. Daniel says for web development, I'd buy a strong Windows device. You can put light Linux deployment on. Yeah. And that's why I'm saying, like, it's all depending on what you're trying to do in terms of how you're trying to approach them. What are you in? Is it web development, right? Is it computer graphics? Is it computer development? It just depends. And so that is the question. What would you use? What computer would you use for web development? Is it going to be the Mac Air? Is it going to be a more is it going to be like the Mac Pro? It just depends. Is it going to be a Windows computer? But Daniel's definitely right on that. Strong Windows device, you can put light Linux deployment on. I love it. So you got to consider the environment, the OS. Most web development happens on Unix, right? Systems like Linux or Mac OS. So if you're mostly writing front end code like HTML, CSS, lightweight machine is fine, right? So If you run heavier stacks, like for example, databases, Docker, you're gonna want more RAM and more CPU. That's personally what I like. That's what I'm saying. That's personally what I would go with. You know, it's portability versus power, right? If you're mobile, you know, portability and battery life matter. We talked about that earlier. If you're doing heavy multitasking, you know, you might want a more powerful machine. So, let's see for Joseph. What's up, man? What's going on? Joseph says I need an iMac touchscreen. Yeah, Joseph. Yeah, that would be great. That would be awesome. I think I did some research on that on the touchscreen side of things, and I think Apple as a company is because they came out with the iPad, you know, and the touchscreen with the iPad. They're like, I I believe the technology that it would take to fit all of that on a iMac. It's just they probably don't even. It's probably not even worth them even even addressing to come out with the iMac that's a touchscreen. But that'd be great. I mean, it'd be awesome. Like, but I'd have I already have fingerprints all over my screen, so it's it's not gonna be no different if I had a. But yeah, that would be so nice to have. Let's see. Oh, I lost my comments. Let's see. We'll bring back the comments. I'm using a Windows Intel. Let's see. Okay, Daniel says the only thing I avoid is anything from Medion. I spent $1,000 on a laptop from them, and the web camera stopped working 3 weeks, and support is on non-existent. Wow, wow. Daniel, I hope you left a great review. I hope you left them a great review because they probably need to hear it from you of all people. Sharon Niche, Shawati. I'm sorry I messed up your name. Welcome to the chat. He says, "What do you think about Bihar, India?" I don't know. Is that where you're from? Welcome to the chat. Uh, Daniel says, "Thankfully, I have a 4K webcam, so it's not needed. But the lack of support is a red flag." Yeah, the lack of support is a red flag because it not only says I I sold you something that does not work and it's not effective, but also on the back end, if I'm a company that is uh is marketing a product and I'm confident about my product and then my product does not is faulty, I'm going to absolutely try to make sure that people can contact me and that they're able to reach me so that they can, you know, for troubleshooting. Like that just it makes no sense to me when companies out here, but that just says, hey, the company is faulty, right? They're faulty with their troubleshooting part of who they are, and they're also faulty as a company. Like, yeah, you have to watch out for those. Those are big red flags. Daniel says, "Got to dip out, man. Catch you. Yeah, man. Thanks, Daniel. Good seeing you today. We'll see you on the flip side, man. Always good to talk with you. Love catching up as we often do. Man, have a great day. But yeah, that's what we have today. There's a few things going on in the world of Apple products, and I'm excited. I sort of it's funny to me, like I have, you know, what you would consider quote unquote an Apple channel, but I don't. When these events come, I actually don't even really watch them. I'll watch like a recap. So I mean, I turned it on when it came on Monday or Tuesday. I can't even remember what day it was. I turned it on for a little bit, but I didn't really sit there and watch. I had other things I had to do. Like I just, you know, I know it'll be there, and most people are fanatics and they watch it and they do deep dives and it's like, you know, every event is like they give you information, they give you updates, but they don't really, right? It's not really you know, it's like whatever. So, but yeah, guys, this has been a great live. Listen, I'm gonna be back up here on tomorrow. We're gonna be back up here tomorrow, same time. I'm gonna probably deep dive. I may try to jump into the community and let you know what I'm talking about, or maybe get your opinion about what we should talk about. In terms, I like to keep my followers involved. I like to keep those who have decided to join this channel, the subscribers who are here. I like to keep them in the loop. Let them choose the topics, right? We've talked about many things, many things. Had a few first timers up here today. Thank you guys again. If you watching this on the replay, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Those that get a chance, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, right? I'm up here every week, mostly, most every week. But I want you guys to get locked in to what's happening here. I love the discussion. I love the feedback and the communication. This community is literally about us coming together and sort of talking about what is latest in technology, because this is really the shape, and this is really how our world and how our society is being shaped by these technologies and these companies that are vying, they're fighting, they are absolutely fighting for our attention. You know, attention is the economy of the world today. And if you don't know that, then you're under a rock somewhere. But we all know it. We live it. We are in it. Whatever has your attention has your life, pretty much. So to that, I say I really appreciate you guys for joining. Thank you so much again. It's been a great live, man. If you're just jumping on now, go back and watch the replay of this. It will be on today for you, as we sort of dive into, or continue to dive into, technology and how it shapes and affects our world. Guys, it's been great. You guys have a great weekend. Great start of your day if you're on this side of town or this side of the globe. If you're those who are already it's already nighttime for you, well, good night. but I had the guy from Hawaii. So now I know it's 12:49 in Hawaii. Cool. I love it. Love to also visit Hawaii and be nice. I heard it's super expensive. But anyway, you guys be well. Join me tomorrow, and we'll talk to you soon, man. You